Well, hey everybody. Welcome to a half episode of Totally Amazing Mushrooms. We're going to call this one 8.5. Why? Because of all the mushrooms that are out there right now, we covered most of them in the last two videos. So we've got two out there that we're going to focus on today. So come for a walk with me and see what we can see. Okay, these are the fat jacks, Suillus cerulescens. And they're related to the slippery jack, the Suillus luteus, and the Suillus lakei, the matte jack, and the slippery jane. These guys were originally in the Boleteaceae family, but they removed them because they had a bunch of different qualities from the boletes. Now they did keep them in the Boletales order, which is the next one up. So they are still classified as related. There's a bunch of differences. The boletes are quite a bit larger. They're more robust. These ones have a pellicle on them that can be removed. That's usually slimy. Now this pellicle that is on the Suillus, and this goes for all the Suillus as far as I know, they have compounds in them which they've been finding some pretty neat attributes too. All right. So in this pellicle, there's a compound called suillin, and they've been extracting other compounds out of this suillin, and they're doing some preliminary testing on neurodegenerative diseases like Alzheimer's and dementia. So that's pretty wicked in itself. But I mean, they've also got antibacterial, they've got anti-tumor, so they've got like anti-cancerous and whatnot, and antioxidant, which we're finding a lot of mushrooms have got the antioxidant properties. And they also have anti-inflammatory properties. And also, again, we're finding that in a lot of the different fungi. So, more research and more science. She blinded me with science. I'm just stoked on what they're finding and the stuff that they're going to be finding in the future. So just keep on hanging on, my friends. They'll find the fountain of youth eventually. So these guys have an ectomycorrhizal connection with the local trees, and these ones prefer the Doug firs, but they'll take any of the Pinaceae family. I don't know about the cedars. Not a lot of fungi are associated with the cedars. Nonetheless, their mycelium plays footsies with the tendrils of the roots of the local trees, and they swap water and nutrients. Now look at this beautiful spore surface, this spongy spores. Okay, so these guys, are they edible? Yeah, darn tootin' right they are. And I love them. They're actually kind of nutty. They're just delicious. However, that pellicle we were talking about has to be removed because it can cause some gastrointestinal upset. Now, I know a lot of people say that they're not really sought after because they're kind of bitter. Now, I found they're not bitter, but I go one step further and I remove the spore surface. It's actually quite easy to remove. Just use your knife and it just scrapes right off. It's actually easier to remove than the actual pellicle. But they're a nice sized mushroom, and they're, like I said, they're absolutely delicious. So if they can use these in helping treat the Alzheimer patients and the dementia patients, that is just absolutely phenomenal. So originally, this guy was actually described, not this one, Suillus luteus was originally described in the early 1700s. Now the problem with that was the linear taxonomy hadn't started until about, I don't know, the mid-1700s. So it got scrapped, but it got brought back and put into the Suillus genus. Now the Suillus cerulescens did not get described until I think it was 1964, which is weird. But again, very tasty and very nice size, and you don't have to pick a lot of them to make a meal out of them. And these guys can grow in bunches like this one. Sometimes you'll find them individual, just hanging out by themselves, and that's okay. Not everybody has a lot of friends like us. This one might show the bluing a little bit better than the other one did. Like I said, they don't always blue. But I can see this one's actually already turning kind of bluish. Just hope that the camera's picking it up. You see how this is starting to blue there? And again, it's not psilocybin. and the spore surface will bruise brown. So it's a weird dichotomy. But yeah, just amazing. It's really starting to blue now. I really hope this camera's picking it up. So what I wanted to show you is I picked up this Suillus, and you can see the beautiful spongy spore surface here. It's starting to fade in color, starting to go a little bit brown, because they're normally quite a brilliant yellow, and we can actually indicate that with this here. You can see the beautiful yellow in there, the meat in that. But yeah, you look at the cap and you're going, okay, right on. I know what this is. I know what the sponge surface is, and you know the stipe bruise is blue. You can see actually showing you a little bit of bluing bruise here, and this will intensify. There are several mushrooms that will blue. These guys blue on the stalk, but they'll go brown on the sponge surface if you bruise it. Either way, 3 feet away from this little beauty, this little Suillus, I thought I saw another beautiful little Suillus. But when we roll it over, look at the gills. It's got actual gills in there, and I'm trying to show them on the camera here. So this is a totally different genus of mushroom, totally different mushroom completely. You have to be very, very careful when you're out foraging. Just don't look at just one aspect of a mushroom. You have to look at all the aspects of a mushroom. This, you can see, is a gilled mushroom. It is not a Suillus. One thing about being out here in the Pacific Northwest, it doesn't matter if you're hiking, if you're foraging, or if you're just walking around. This time of year, every 10 feet, you're going to get a spider web in the face. And sometimes I'll get like right in the middle, I won't even notice him until he's right in my face. And he's like right in my face. Huge. It's like those, what are those filters they put on the iPhones when a spider runs across somebody's face? It's kind of like that, only it's real, man. Anyways, oh, the sacrifices I make for this channel. Alright, let's get over to this beautiful little mushroom I was telling you about. And it's a crust fungus. So see, these guys were coming up on here, that white little bit there and a little bit there, and there's more over there, but it's kind of in the sun. There, we'll shade it a little bit. Alright, you might think that those were like a Trametes, the lumpy bracket, maybe the Trametes gibosa. It's not the Trametes gibosa. You might think that it was a Tyromyces. It's not that either. But this guy is growing on an alder log, and I'm going to get down here and show you some closer details as I crush up these other logs that I lean on. These are absolutely amazing. I'm going to try and get the camera set up here. Sorry about this. So this is Phlebia tremulosa, and Phlebia means skin or veins in Greek, and tremulosa means trembling. And this is because these guys are so just very gelatinous. And I'm going to pull one up. These guys they'll get a kind of a translucenty fringe area around the edge here. If I can find my finger in there. There we go. All the way around here. And I'm going to pull one off, and their body literally attaches so well. So these guys are just sweeties. I'm going to pull one off here, and I'm going to show you how much, see how they just keep going. That's their whole spore body. I just want a piece of this because I want to show you the underside. And it looks like I'm going to get the whole thing. Well, that's unfortunate. Alright. However, now we have that guy. Look at the wrinkly underside here. Those are where all the spores are going to be produced. So these guys are quite different looking. And this spore surface will get an orangey red as it ages. This guy's quite young, and it's just, they're just so gelatiny. Very cool, very thin caps. And these guys actually would prefer, being a crust, they would just prefer to actually just like cover the log like that. But these guys will give it that extra little bit of energy just to push out a little bit of a cap. And And that's what we got here. Absolutely beautiful. Are they edible? No, they're classified as inedible. They're, like I say, they're very gelatinousy, and they taste like dirt. So they're really not worth harvesting. And you can see on the other side of this log, here's another one just starting out. If I can get to, yeah. So these guys can actually, their lip will curl up sometimes. And actually I think we've got some over here that are a little bit older. And they're starting to curl up. Yeah. Just wild. But yeah, not edible. They have started doing some scientific testing on these guys, and they haven't got any fully drawn conclusions yet of their properties, but they're working towards trying to treat lung infections. Some of the compounds in here might be helpful in their fight against lung infections. Just amazing little creatures. And there's not a lot of mushrooms out here right now, so we're just going to feature this little one today. A lot of the ones that are still out here I already featured on number 7 and number 8 of totally amazing mushrooms. Either way, this guy's just a sweetie. Look at that top. Like, the top is just amazing. I love it. And kind of spiky, furry little creature. Now I wish I had some more information on these guys for you, but I do not, because there's not a lot out there in the scientific world. But these guys are white rot decayers, just like the Trametes and the Tyromyces, and they prefer beech and oak. But this one's an alder, and they don't seem to mind. And they will occasionally grow on conifers. So it's another thing to keep in mind when you're out looking. But yeah, if you see a really, really rough looking cap like this growing off the side of a log that's very gelatinousy and spiky like that, and then we flip it over and you got these wrinkly wrinklies, there's a very good chance that you have a crust fungus. They're very, very soft, and any of the Trametes, they're soft, but not as soft as these guys. And if it was edible, I'd eat it. But that's okay, we don't have to eat everything we find. Some of them are just to be admired, like this one. Absolute beauty. And they will get kind of an orangey pink sometimes as they age. And as I said, the underside will go like a brilliant orange red, like it's already kind of orangeying up right now. Pretty cool. You know, I am absolutely getting snarfed by mosquitoes out here, so I am going to end this little clip here pretty quick. Alright, leave these guys to keep devouring our alder branch here. That really looks like a mushroom. Like a... oh, not. Huh. Look at that, that's an eggshell. And I do not know what kind of an egg that is. Like, it's a big, big egg. Speckled, slightly speckled here. You can see it there. If anybody happens to know what species of bird this belongs to, please put it in the comments, because I am very intrigued. Like, I mean, it's bigger than a chicken egg. Quite a bit, you can see that. I'm kind of thinking like eagle, hawk maybe, not sure. Like I said, if you know, please let us all know, and I will put it in our next video. Alright everybody, before we bring this video to a close, I need to bring up something that one of our amazing subscribers, and very knowledgeable one might I add as well, brought up to me in the comments. They mentioned about the spores of the lycoperdons, the puffballs. Now these guys have very spiky spores, kind of like an old mace that they fought with back in ancient days. And if you inhale too many of these spores, you can get a major lung infection, and the name of it is actually lycoperdonosis. Something I didn't even know. So thank you so much for sending out that piece of information to me. Please just make sure that you're very, very careful when you're out foraging. There's so many things that are out there that can harm you. Even the things that are edible there's always something around them that might not be so good for you. All right, my friends, thank you so very much for watching, and we'll see you in one of the upcoming episodes.